In today's vlog, we're going to be creating some more chicken broth. We're going to be working with sweet potatoes. We're going to experiment with some beetroot. We're going to go wild with our favourites, broccoli and carrots. And we're going to create that with a little bit of rice and some chicken mince. Join us. Welcome to the vlog. As you've seen from the introduction, today I'm going to be cooking in some chicken broth, which I'm going to make first, and then I'm going to create a raw veg chicken mince rice dinner supplement for the dogs. They haven't had one in a little while. They really go wild for it. So first things first, I'm going to start preparing the broth, the stock. That takes a little time, lots of simmering and boiling down, really getting those juices, all those bone juices, everything into that stock. And whilst I'm going to do that, I'm going to prepare the sweet potatoes, I'm going to prepare the beets by boiling them. Once all that part's done, I can then get the rice on, get the chicken on, and start cooking in that stock. Adding the beets, adding the sweet potato, and then finally adding the raw veg. I want to minimize the amount of time the raw veg take cooking, because obviously I want it raw, and so it's going to be very quickly blanched. So they're going to basically see the boiling water, and they'll be good to add in and ready to go. Anyway, please do join me in my DIY culinary journey in trying to make a better life, a better food for my 6 rescue dogs. Okay, join us. Okay, so that sounds like the water is boiling. That's looking really good. Okay, let's grab a couple of potatoes. We don't want to splash ourselves. Let's pop them in. So far, I have the sweet potatoes on and boiling. I have the pan on for the stock. Now, as you've seen in my previous videos, I'm going to chop up some chunky carrots. So make sure they're cut really thick, because they're going to be in the stock for a little while. We don't want them disintegrating. And then I'm going to add in the chicken legs. So they didn't have the chicken lollipop like I showed you last time. That's what I really wanted. So I went for the next best thing. From the experiment last time, these worked really well. Lots of chicken on them. There's bone obviously in them as well. Once they've been in the boiling water a while, the meat just comes off the bone. It's actually relatively easy to find the bones once you've finished with the broth, to separate the meat from the bones so the dogs can have the meat and not choke on the bones. So that works really well. Like I say, each drumstick has a bone, so that's really good for the boiling and the creating of the broth. So yeah, so I'm going to go with carrots and chicken drumsticks for my broth as soon as the water's boiled. As you can see, I've chopped the carrots ready to go. Stock is almost coming up to the boil, so remember, once it's almost on the verge of the boil, I'm going to turn it down to simmer. I'm going to leave it on simmer for a couple of hours, let it reduce down a little bit. The sweet potatoes are almost done. As soon as they're done, I'm going to swap in the beets, or swap out the beets, swap in the beets, get them nice and boiled down and ready. They can cool, that's all right while the stock is doing, and then we'll pick it back up from once the stock is ready to go. Because once the stock is ready to go, I'm gonna use that stock to boil the rice in, add in the beets, add in the sweet potatoes, and then, like I say, just very quickly rush in the broccoli and that's it, just the broccoli. There you go. Oh, and we've got that chicken mince also that's got to be cooked up as well and added in. That's what I was missing. Okay, as you can see now, the stock is all about to boil, so I'm going to turn it down and leave it to simmer until it reduces down. Okay, so the stock is now simmering. I'm just going to check on the sweet potatoes. So I'm feeling like we're going at a great pace. We have boiled the sweet potatoes. They're all good. They're still a little hot right now, just letting them cool down, but they're nice and squidgy now. So that's really good. I've got the beets on now boiling, and I've got the stock broth now simmering. Now remember, with the stock and the broth, I've got to keep coming back to it and try to ladle off some of that fat, some of the froth floating to the top, but that's going to carry on going away. Just got the beets to take off, then I can take a little bit of break because it gets hot here in the kitchen, and then we'll come back when the stock is ready for the second half of the vlog. Okay, let's just go and check on those beets one more time. We've come almost to the halfway point. My beets have now been boiled. My sweet potatoes are now boiled. They're ready to go. As soon as they cool down, I'll chop them up. The broth is still going strong. So this is where I'm going to take a quick break. And as soon as that broth is done, I'll be back to join you and we'll get on with part 2. Bye for now.
You're very clever. Leave him alone.
Okay, so you've just seen me chop the beets, you've just seen me chop the sweet potatoes, and now I think the stock, the broth looks good to go. I've just tested the chicken easily falls off the bone, so I'm now gonna separate the chicken and the carrots from the stock, from the juice, mainly so I can go through the chicken and get rid of all the dangerous bones, and with the juice I'm going to put it back on the hob, ready to have rice added to it, and I'm going to cook the rice in the chicken stock broth. Okay, here we go. So I've boiled down the stock. I separated the bones from the chicken debris and the carrots, bin the bones. With the chicken stock broth, I boiled up roughly 4 cups of rice. When that was boiled, or when that was boiled and the rice was ready, I added in the beets, I added in the sweet potatoes, I also added back in the chicken debris from creating the stock and the carrots. You've just watched me. I wouldn't say I boiled the broccoli. I'd call it blanch. I think blanch is just like a flash. Just dropping them into the boiling water for seconds. I did a little bit more, probably did about a minute. Basically, I waited until once I dropped those, so the water's boiling. Once I drop them in and make sure they're all under the water, I went to the water, came back to boil, and then got them out. I've now added them to the rest of the food. All I have left is the chicken mince to do. So I added a tiny little bit of coconut oil in the bottom there. Okay, so you just watched me fry a little bit of that chicken mince in some virgin coconut oil. Super easy. I didn't overly cook the mince because the dogs do like a little bit of raw food in there, but I thought I better give it a little heat up and a once over. So that's now done. That's been added. I'm waiting for it all to cool to mix it. And as always, tonight I'll show you if the dogs accept or reject it. It's full of chicken, they're going to love it. But hopefully, it's a new, adding the beets is new. Boiling the sweet potato, that's new. Cooking the rice in the stock, that's new for us as well, even though we've kind of done it in a number of other vlogs. That's putting it all in one vlog. Is definitely new, so we'll see how the dogs like it. It's quite moist because I've cooked it, because the rice, and I've cooked it in that stock. So I'm thinking, rather than supplementing the tinned dog food, I'm going to probably add some biscuits at the beginning, so a few biscuits just to make sure the dogs get all their nutrition they need. And then I'm going to mix in the rice, chicken, broccoli, carrot, beets mix, as it were. And yeah, we'll see if they like it. So I'll see you a little later on. Bye for now. Okay. So now it's early evening. The food has cooled down significantly. It's all good to go. It's mixed. It's a lovely pinky colour because of the beets, so that's all ready to go. What I forgot to add and mention is I was doing some reading, and apparently kale is really good for dogs, and so I did look up whether I should cook it, steam it, or have it raw. It said, Mr. Google said, however your dog prefers it. So I'm going to get some kale now. I'm going to chop it up, and I'm going to put it in as well into their dog food. And then I'm also going to add, as I said I would, some of their dry kibble just at the bottom, and I'll mix it round and mix it in. And so with a combination of the DIY dog food, a little bit of kale, and the kibble as well, it should be a really good meal. Okay. Just tap some off. That's how we'll do it. Okay, I think it's a good start. Fox, go away, Fox, it's not yours. Never Wendy. I know, he's going to take yours in a moment. So I would normally do the roundup, the summary of today's vlog in the kitchen, the other half of the kitchen, but the light seems better in here, so I'm going to complete my summary of what we did, or what we did in the vlog here. So what did we do in the vlog? Okay, we had two kind of things going on in the first. First thing was we were creating a broth, creating a stock, chicken stock, which we were going to use later. So we did chicken drumsticks and thick cut carrots. So we put them into the boiling water, we turned it on to simmer, and I kind of left it to do its own thing. I did occasionally come back and strain the fat off the top. That was really important. While that was going on, I was preparing the sweet potato and the beetroot. I did that with boiling today, so I boiled down the sweet potato, I boiled down the beetroot. The sweet potato came out really nice, really easy to boil. When they slowly slide off the fork, that's kind of when they're done, so that worked. And the beets seem to, I've not done a lot of cooking with beetroot. Beets took a long time to start going soft, but when they did, they went from kind of being solid to soft very quickly, but I guess they were about 30 minutes on, maybe a little longer. Once we boiled them and they'd cooled down, I sliced and diced them, ready to add later. With the stock, I separated the chicken bones from the chicken meat and the carrots. That's super important. If you're going to reuse all that, which I am going to do, I'm going to add that back into the meal. So when it cooled down, I separated the bones from the meat and the carrots. With the stock itself, I added rice. I added about 4 cups of rice to cook in the stock. That seemed to work really well as well. Boiled the rice up in the stock, added in the chicken remains and the carrots, added in the beets, added in the sweet potatoes, mixed it all around. That worked really well, seemed to work really well. Once I had that, I boiled some more water and quickly put the broccoli in. I wanted the broccoli quite raw, so I didn't have the broccoli in very long, enough for once I put the broccoli in the boiling water, make sure it was all underwater. As soon as it came back up to boiling again, I took the broccoli out. So that was just a quick flash. And I fried the chicken mince with a little bit of organic coconut oil. I was starting to question whether I actually needed to add the mince into what I already had, but then the thought of, I brought it for the dogs and the dogs do love the chicken, so adding in the mince yeah, it was just another bonus for the dog. So we got the chicken debris from 10 chicken drumsticks. They've got the chicken mince as well, so that's great. Lots of protein there, lots of great flavours. I didn't go too mad on the rice this time. In past vlogs, you would see me make a big container full of food. This one's more for a shorter period of time. This probably lasted a couple of days. But I wanted to experiment with the stock and the rice. I wanted to experiment with beets and the sweet potatoes, boiling them down, adding them in. And the final thing was the kale, and as you can see here, I went with the raw kale, adding the raw kale to the dog food. And as you can see by the evidence, didn't go down so well. Dogs kind of nosed it out of their dishes. So I need to get back on to the drawing board with the kale. Obviously the raw kale didn't work. Maybe they might like it steamed. Maybe I should boil it and mix it in a little bit more. I think I'm going to play around with that idea, because kale is supposed to be very good for the dog's kidneys, I believe, and digestion. So yeah, I'm gonna work with the kale a little bit more. Didn't work raw, didn't work for my dogs raw. But you live and learn. And apart from that, the dogs have cleared all their bowls, apart from the kale, so we're all good. Yeah. Well, I hope you enjoyed this vlog. Remember, this is just what I'm doing for myself, but it'd be really cool if you could subscribe and share and click the like button. It all helps. Yeah, and I will be back shortly with another DIY dog food vlog. Thank you for watching. Bye bye for now.